The baby was crying. That's the first thing I remember. Not the words. Not the look on his face. Not the way the morning light was just beginning to creep through the blinds, pale and gray and indifferent, the color of disappointment. The crying. The endless, desperate, inconsolable crying of a newborn who had been up since 2 a.m. and couldn't find sleep. The kind of crying that drills into your skull and stays there, a splinter you can't remove, a soundtrack you can't turn off.
My daughter, Lily.
5 weeks old. She had my eyes, my mother's chin, his stubbornness. She was tiny and fragile and perfect, and she would not stop crying.
Her face was red.
Her fists were clenched. Her tiny legs kicked against the blanket I had wrapped around her. She was hungry, maybe, or tired, or cold, or hot, or just angry at the world for being born into it. I couldn't tell anymore. I had tried everything.
Feeding.
Burping.
Changing. Swaddling.
Rocking.
Singing.
Nothing worked. I was sitting in the rocking chair in the corner of the nursery. The same rocking chair my mother had used for me. The same rocking chair I had rocked in as a child, dreaming of the day I would have a baby of my own. The wood was worn smooth from years of use. The cushion was stained from years of tears. The arms were scratched from years of nervous fingers. I had sat in this chair with my mother when I was scared. I had sat in this chair with my father when he was dying. I had sat in this chair with my husband when we were trying to conceive. The dream had come true. The nightmare had followed. My husband, Mark, was standing in the doorway. He was wearing boxers and a t-shirt. His hair was messy. His eyes were red. He had been up with the baby too.
He had been up with me.
We were both exhausted. We were both drowning. We were both shells of the people we had been 5 weeks ago, before the sleepless nights, before the endless crying, before the relentless pressure of keeping a tiny human alive. I could see it in his face. The bags under his eyes. The pallor of his skin. The way his jaw was clenched, like he was holding something in. I can't do this anymore.
His voice was flat.
Empty. The voice of a man who had been rehearsing this speech for weeks, maybe months, maybe years. The voice of a man who had already checked out, who was already gone, who was just going through the motions of leaving. The voice of a stranger wearing my husband's face. Mark, she's crying. Can we talk about this later? Can we just get her to sleep first? Can we just survive the next hour?
No.
We're talking about it now. I looked up at him. The baby squirmed in my arms. Her cries were getting louder, more urgent, more desperate. She was so small, so helpless, so unaware that her father was about to destroy her family. She didn't know what divorce meant.
She didn't know what betrayal meant.
She didn't know that the man standing in the doorway was not the man I had married. I want a divorce. The words hung in the air.
Heavy.
Final. Irreversible. They landed like stones in still water, sending ripples outward, changing everything they touched. The baby stopped crying for a moment, as if she understood. Then she started again, louder than before. Mark. I mean it. I've been thinking about it for months. I'm not happy. I haven't been happy for a long time. I've been pretending. I've been going through the motions. But I can't do it anymore. I can't pretend anymore. You haven't been happy? We have a 5-week-old baby. No one is happy. No one is sleeping.
No one is themselves.
This is temporary. This is normal. Every new parent goes through this. Every marriage goes through rough patches. This isn't about the baby. Then what is it about?
Talk to me.
Tell me what's wrong. We can fix it. We can go to counseling. We can work on us. It's too late for that. It's never too late. We made vows. For better or for worse. This is the worst part. But we can get through it. We've gotten through everything else. He looked at the floor. He looked at the wall. He looked anywhere but at me. His hands were shoved in his pockets. His shoulders were hunched. He looked like a little boy who had been caught stealing, not a grown man about to abandon his wife and child. I met someone. Welcome back to Gentle Drama. Get comfortable. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the final part. My name is Nora. I'm 34 years old. I'm a high school English teacher. I've been married to Mark for 6 years. We met at a friend's barbecue. He was grilling burgers. I was holding a plate of potato salad. He made a joke about my sunburn. Something stupid. Something I don't even remember now. Something about looking like a lobster. But I laughed. He asked for my number. I gave it to him. We fell in love the way people do in their late 20s. Fast. Hard. Without caution. We moved in together after 6 months. We got engaged after a year. We got married after 2. It was whirlwind. It was romantic. It was everything I had ever wanted. He was handsome and funny and ambitious. He had a good job at a marketing firm. He had a good family, parents who were still married, siblings who actually liked each other. He had a good future, a future that I thought included me. I thought he was my future. For 6 years, I believed that. For 6 years, I built a life around him. A home, a career, a family. We bought a house in the suburbs. We planted a garden. We adopted a dog. We talked about children, about schools, about retirement, about growing old together. We picked out names. We painted the nursery yellow. We bought a crib and a stroller and a car seat. We were ready. I thought we were happy. I thought we were solid. I thought we were forever. I was wrong. The affair had been going on for 8 months. 8 months. Through my pregnancy. Through the sleepless nights. Through the birth of our daughter. Through the first 5 weeks of her life. Through every moment that should have been sacred, every moment that should have been ours, he had been thinking about someone else. Someone who wasn't me. Someone who wasn't carrying his child. Someone who wasn't up all night with a screaming baby. Her name was Nicole. She was his coworker. A marketing manager at the same firm. Younger than me.
Prettier than me.
Thinner than me. She had no stretch marks. No baby weight. No bags under her eyes from sleepless nights. She had no idea what it was like to push a human being out of her body, to tear and bleed and cry, to hold a newborn in her arms and wonder if she was doing it right. She probably slept through the night. She probably went out for drinks after work. She probably wore clothes that weren't stained with spit up. I asked him how long. He told me. 8 months. I asked him when it started.
He told me.
Right after we found out I was pregnant. Right after the ultrasound. Right after we saw the tiny heartbeat flickering on the screen for the first time. You were having an affair while I was carrying your child? While I was growing a human inside my body? While I was throwing up every morning and crying for no reason and terrified of labor? I wasn't planning it. It just happened. One thing led to another. I didn't mean for it to happen. It didn't just happen. You made choices. You chose to talk to her. You chose to flirt with her. You chose to sleep with her. You chose her over me. Over us. Over your daughter. Over your family.
I'm sorry.
You're sorry? You're sorry? That's all you have to say? After 8 months of lying? After 8 months of coming home to me, kissing me goodnight, sleeping in our bed, pretending to be my husband, pretending to love me, pretending that everything was fine?
I'm sorry.
I don't want your apologies. I want you to leave. Where am I supposed to go? I don't care. Go to Nicole's. Go to your parents. Go to a hotel. I don't care. Just get out of my house. Our house. Get out of my house. The baby was still crying. I was still holding her. My arms were shaking. My voice was shaking. My whole body was shaking. The rocking chair creaked beneath me. The morning light was getting brighter, harsher, more unforgiving. It illuminated the dust motes floating in the air. It illuminated the cracks in the walls. It illuminated the tear tracks on my cheeks that I hadn't even noticed. I'm going to stay with Nicole for a while, he said.
He wasn't looking at me.
He was looking at the baby. At Lily. At his daughter. I'll come back for my things later. We can figure out the details, custody, child support, the house. We can figure it out. We can be civil. For her sake. Custody? You want custody? You can't even hold her without her crying. You can't even change a diaper without gagging. You've spent maybe 3 hours alone with her since she was born. I'm still her father. You're a sperm donor. A father is someone who shows up. Someone who stays. Someone who doesn't run off with his coworker while his wife is recovering from childbirth. I'm not running off. Yes, you are. You're running off. You're abandoning us. You're choosing her over your family. That's running off. He didn't answer. He just stood there, in the doorway, looking at the floor, looking at the wall, looking anywhere but at me. He walked out of the nursery. I heard him walk down the hallway. I heard him open the closet. I heard him pulling out a suitcase, unzipping it, throwing clothes inside. I heard him walking back and forth, gathering his things, his life, our memories. I heard him walk down the stairs. I heard him open the front door. I heard him pause in the doorway. I held my breath. I waited for him to come back, to change his mind,
To say he was sorry. To say it was a mistake. To say he loved me.
I heard the front door close. The lock clicked. The house was quiet. The baby kept crying. I sat in the rocking chair, holding my daughter, listening to the sound of her screams. I didn't cry. I couldn't. The tears were there, somewhere inside me, but they wouldn't come. They were stuck behind the shock, behind the disbelief, behind the solid wall of numbness that had built itself around my heart. I just sat there, rocking back and forth, holding my baby, waiting for the world to make sense again. It didn't. The next morning, I woke up in my mother's guest room at 6 a.m. The room was small, barely large enough for the twin bed and the bassinet and the old dresser that had belonged to my grandmother. The walls were pale yellow, the color my mother had chosen 20 years ago when she redecorated after my father died. She had never changed it. She said it reminded her of him. I had slept for 4 hours, maybe 5. I couldn't remember. The night had been a blur of feedings and diaper changes and the endless, impossible task of trying to quiet a newborn who didn't know why she was crying. Lily had been fussy, colicky maybe. Or maybe she could feel my pain. Maybe she knew that something was wrong, that the man whose voice she had heard in the womb was gone, that the life she had been born into had already shattered. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. There was a crack in the plaster, a thin line that ran from the corner of the room to the light fixture. I had stared at that crack as a child, lying in this same bed, listening to my mother cry after my father died. I had stared at it and wondered if the ceiling would fall, if the house would crumble, if the world would end. It hadn't. The ceiling was still standing. The house was still standing. The world was still turning. Lily was in the bassinet beside the bed. She was awake, her eyes open, her tiny hands waving in the air, her mouth making small cooing sounds. She looked at me. She almost smiled. Not a real smile. Newborns don't really smile at 6 weeks, but something close. Something that felt like recognition. Something that felt like love. I reached over and picked her up. I held her against my chest. I felt her heartbeat, fast and steady, drumming against my own. I felt her warmth, her softness, her trust. She didn't know that her father was gone. She didn't know that her family was broken. She didn't know that her mother was falling apart. She just knew that she was warm and she was full and she was safe. "Good morning, baby," I whispered. She gurgled. "I'm going to keep you safe," I said. "I'm going to protect you. I'm going to make sure you never feel the pain I'm feeling. I'm going to be your mother and your father and your everything. I promise." My mother was in the kitchen when I came downstairs at 7 a.m. She was standing at the stove, wearing her old bathrobe, her hair still wet from the shower. The smell of bacon filled the air. The coffee maker was gurgling. The radio was playing old country songs, the kind my father used to listen to. She turned when she heard me. Her eyes were red. She had been crying again. She had been crying for 3 days straight, ever since Mark left. She tried to hide it, but I could see. I could always see. "You're up early," she said. Lily was hungry. "Sit down. I'll make you a plate." "I'm not hungry. You need to eat. You're nursing. You can't skip meals." "I'm not hungry."
She didn't argue.
She just put a plate in front of me anyway. Eggs, scrambled. Bacon, crispy. Toast, buttered. She poured me a cup of coffee. She poured herself a cup of coffee. She sat down across from me. "I talked to Sarah this morning," she said. "What did she say?" "She said Mark's lawyer contacted her. They want to set up a mediation. They want to try to settle without going to court. They want to avoid a trial if possible." "A mediation?" Sarah said it's normal. It's a way to avoid a trial. You and Mark sit in a room with a neutral third party and try to agree on custody, child support, division of assets. It's less expensive. It's less stressful. It's faster. I can't sit in a room with him. I can't look at him. I can't be in the same building as him. I can't. You might have to. If you want this to be over, you might have to. I don't care if it's over. I care about Lily. I care about protecting her. I care about making sure she has a future. Then you'll do what you have to do. You'll sit in that room. You'll look at that man. You'll fight for your daughter. Because that's what mothers do. At 9 a.m., my phone rang. Mark's name appeared on the screen. I stared at it for a long time, watching it pulse, feeling the vibration in my hand. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. Nora, it's me. I know you don't want to talk to me. I know you're angry. I know you hate me. But we need to figure things out. We need to talk about Lily. We need to talk about custody. We need to talk about the house. We need to talk about child support. We can't just ignore each other forever.
Please call me.
I'm not the enemy. I'm just trying to do what's best for everyone. I deleted the voicemail. I didn't call back. At 10 a.m., another voicemail. Nora, please. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm not trying to make this harder than it already is. I just want to see my daughter. I just want to hold her. I just want to know she's okay. I'm her father. I have rights. You can't keep her from me forever. I deleted that one too. At 11 a.m., a text. I'm coming to the house today. I'm coming to get the rest of my things. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to fight. I just need my stuff. I need to move on. I responded. Your things are on the porch. Take them and leave. Don't come inside. Don't try to see me. Don't try to see Lily. He responded. I want to see my daughter. I responded. Not today. Maybe not ever. I need time. I need space. I need to figure out how to be around you without falling apart. He responded. You're being unreasonable. You're using Lily as a weapon. That's not fair to her. That's not fair to me. I didn't respond. He responded. Fine. I'll come tomorrow. I'll bring the police if I have to. You can't keep me out of my own house. You can't keep me from my own daughter. Mark arrived at 2 p.m. I watched from the window of the guest room. The window faced the street. I could see the driveway, the porch, the front door. I had been standing there for an hour, waiting, watching, dreading. His black SUV pulled into the driveway. The same SUV we had bought together. The same SUV we had driven home from the hospital with Lily in the back seat. The same SUV that now belonged to a stranger. He parked behind my car, the old Honda Civic that barely ran, the one he had been nagging me to replace for years. He got out. He was wearing jeans and a sweater. His hair was messy. His face was pale. He looked tired. He looked older. He looked like a man who hadn't slept in days, who had been drinking too much, who had been avoiding mirrors. He walked to the porch. He saw the boxes. Clothes. Shoes. Books. His things. The things he had left behind when he walked out. The things he had forgotten, or hadn't wanted, or hadn't had room for in his new life with Nicole. He picked up the first box. He carried it to the SUV. He came back for another. He came back for another. He came back for another. He moved methodically, silently, like a man performing a chore he had done 1,000 times. He didn't knock. He didn't look at the window. He didn't look at the house. He just moved his things from the porch to the car, one box at a time, like a stranger moving out of a stranger's home. When the last box was loaded, he stood on the porch. He looked at the front door. He looked at the window where I was standing. He knew I was there. He could see my silhouette behind the curtain. He could see the shape of me, holding Lily, watching him. Nora, he called. I know you're in there.
Can we talk?
Please? Just for a minute? I'm not going to try to change your mind. I'm not going to beg.
I just want to see you.
I just want to see Lily. I just want to know you're okay. I didn't move. I'm not going to stay long. I'm not going to start a fight. I just want to look at her. I just want to hold her. I haven't seen her in 3 days. I miss her. I miss both of you. I still didn't move. Please. I'm begging you. Just open the door. My mother appeared beside me. She put her hand on my shoulder. Her hand was warm. Her hand was steady. Don't, she said. I wasn't going to. You're stronger than him. Don't forget that. He's her father. She has a right to know him. He had a right to be her father. He gave that up when he walked out. He gave that up when he chose another woman over his family. He's still her father. Being a father isn't about biology. It's about showing up. It's about being there. It's about choosing your children every day. He chose Nicole. He chose himself. He didn't choose Lily. I watched Mark stand on the porch for another minute. His shoulders were hunched. His hands were shoved in his pockets. He looked small. He looked defeated. He looked like a man who had made a terrible mistake and didn't know how to undo it. Then he walked back to his SUV.
He got in.
He started the engine. He sat there for a moment, staring at the house, staring at the window, staring at me. Then he drove away. I watched the taillights disappear down the street. The red lights faded into the distance, swallowed by the afternoon sun. The street was quiet. The house was quiet. The only sound was Lily's breathing, soft and steady, and my mother's hand on my shoulder. I sat in the rocking chair for 3 hours. The baby cried for 2 of them. Endless, inconsolable, her tiny body rigid with rage, her face red and wet, her screams echoing off the walls of the nursery that we had painted together. Mark had insisted on yellow. It's gender neutral, he said. We can use it for the next one too. The next one. There wouldn't be a next one now. There wouldn't be anything now. Then she exhausted herself. Then she slept. Her tiny chest rose and fell beneath the blanket I had wrapped around her. Her tiny fists relaxed, finally unclenching. Her tiny mouth formed a perfect O, like she was blowing kisses in her dreams. She looked peaceful, innocent, unaware that her world had just been shattered. She didn't know that her father was gone. She didn't know that her mother was broken. She didn't know anything except that she was warm and full and safe. I didn't move. I couldn't. My arms were numb from holding her. My legs were stiff from sitting in the same position for hours. The rocking chair had left grooves in the floor. The morning light shifted from gray to gold to white as the sun rose higher and higher. The shadows in the room changed shape, sliding across the walls like slow-moving animals. At 6:30 a.m., the sun was fully up. The room was bright. The dust motes floated in the light. I could see every imperfection in the paint, every scuff mark on the baseboards, every crack in the ceiling. I could see the small handprint on the wall near the changing table, the one Mark had made when we were testing paint colors. He had pressed his hand against the wall and said, "Lily's first artwork."
We had laughed.
We had been happy. I thought about that handprint. I thought about that laugh. I wondered if any of it had been real. I wondered if any of it had meant anything to him. At 7:30 a.m., my phone rang. The sound was jarring, out of place in the quiet of the nursery. The baby stirred but didn't wake. I glanced at the screen. Mark. I didn't answer. It rang again. Mark again. 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 5 times over the next hour. Voicemails piled up. I didn't listen to them. I didn't want to hear his voice. I didn't want to hear his excuses, his apologies, his lies. At 9 a.m., I heard a key in the lock. The sound was unmistakable. The scrape of metal against metal. The click of the tumblers turning. The creak of the door opening. Someone was coming in. Someone had a key. I tensed. I held the baby tighter. I waited. Footsteps in the hallway. Heavy.
Familiar.
Work boots. The same boots my mother had worn for 20 years. The ones she refused to throw away, even though the soles were worn thin. I knew those footsteps. I had known them since I was a child. My mother appeared in the doorway of the nursery. She was wearing jeans and a sweatshirt. Her hair was wet from the shower. Her eyes were red. She had been crying.
Mark called me, she said.
Her voice was raw, like she had been screaming, like she had been crying for hours, like she had been driving in silence, preparing herself for what she would find. He said he told you. He told me. Are you okay?
No.
She walked into the nursery. Her footsteps were slow, deliberate, like she was walking through a minefield. She knelt beside the rocking chair. She took my free hand in both of hers. Her hands were warm, calloused. The hands of a woman who had worked her whole life. The hands of a woman who had raised 2 children alone after my father died. "I'm going to kill him," she said. "Mom, I'm serious. I'm going to drive to his office, and I'm going to kill him. I'm going to walk into that building and I'm going to find that woman and I'm going to— Please don't. He left you. He left his daughter. He left while you were holding his child. What kind of man does that? What kind of father does that? The kind of man who's been having an affair for 8 months. My mother's face went pale. The color drained from her cheeks like water from a sink. Her mouth opened.
Closed.
Opened again. 8 months. 8 months. Since you were pregnant? Since we found out about Lily? Since the ultrasound? Since the heartbeat? 8 months, she repeated. He was sleeping with someone else while you were growing his child, while you were throwing up every morning and crying for no reason and terrified of labor. He was with her. With Nicole. Someone from work. I've met her. She came to the Christmas party. She brought cookies. She smiled at me. She asked about the baby. She said I looked radiant. She said you looked radiant. While she was sleeping with my husband. My mother closed her eyes. She took a deep breath. She held it for a moment. She let it out slowly. When she opened her eyes, they were hard, determined.
Get dressed, she said.
Mom.
Get dressed.
Pack a bag. You're coming home with me. You're not staying here alone. You're not raising this baby by yourself in this house full of memories. You're coming home. I can't just leave. This is my house. This is my home. This was your home. It's not anymore. It's a crime scene. It's a place where something terrible happened.
And you need to leave. For your own sanity.
For Lily's sake. I have to call a lawyer. You can call a lawyer from my house. You can call a lawyer from the car. You can call a lawyer while I make you breakfast. But you're not staying here. She stood up. She walked to the closet. She pulled out a suitcase. She opened it on the bed. She started packing.
Clothes.
Diapers. Blankets. Bottles. Formula. Anything she could find. Anything she thought I might need. I watched her. I didn't move. I couldn't. The rocking chair was the only thing holding me together. If I stood up, I would fall apart. Mom. She stopped packing.
She turned to look at me.
I don't know how to do this alone. You're not alone. You have me. You have your sister. You have your friends. You have people who love you. You're not alone. He was supposed to be the one. He was supposed to be there. He was supposed to help me raise her. He was supposed to be her father. Then he should have thought about that before he stuck his dick in someone else. I laughed. I couldn't help it. The sound was sharp and hollow, like a stone hitting glass. My mother had never said anything like that before. She was always proper, always polite, always careful with her words. Sorry, she said, but it's true. It's true. Now get dressed. The drive to my mother's house took 45 minutes. Lily slept in the back seat, strapped into her car seat, her head tilted to the side, her mouth open, her breath fogging the window. She looked like a doll, a tiny, perfect, fragile doll. I watched her in the rear-view mirror the whole way. My mother drove. Her hands were tight on the steering wheel. Her jaw was set. Her eyes were focused on the road.
She didn't speak.
She didn't turn on the radio. She didn't fill the silence with meaningless words. I stared out the window. The suburbs blurred past. The houses looked the same. The trees looked the same. The sky looked the same. Everything looked the same. Nothing was the same. He's going to come back, I said. He's going to try. What do you mean? He's going to realize what he lost. He's going to realize that she's not you. He's going to realize that he made a mistake. He's going to come crawling back.
He's going to say he's sorry.
He's going to say he loves you. He's going to say he wants his family back. He's going to beg. He's going to cry. He's going to promise to change. And when he does, you're going to remember what he did. You're going to remember that he left you at 5:30 in the morning while you were holding his child. You're going to remember that he was having an affair for 8 months. You're going to remember that he chose her over you, over Lily, over your family. And you're going to say no. What if I don't want to say no? Then you're going to say no anyway. Because you deserve better. Because Lily deserves better. Because he's not going to change. He's not going to become a different person. He's going to come back, and he's going to be the same man who left. The same man who lied. The same man who cheated. The same man who broke your heart. And you're going to say no. I didn't answer. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know who I was anymore. I had been Mark's wife for 6 years. I had been Nora, his partner, his lover, his friend. Without him, who was I? Sarah arrived at my mother's house at 2 p.m. The doorbell rang. My mother went to answer it. I stayed in the living room, sitting on the sagging couch, holding Lily, staring at the wall. I hadn't moved in hours. I couldn't. Every time I tried to stand, my legs buckled. Every time I tried to think, my mind went blank. I was a shell. A hollow, breathing shell. I heard murmuring in the hallway. My mother's voice. Another voice.
Familiar. Warm.
I had known that voice for 20 years. Since high school. Since we were girls with big dreams and bigger hopes. Since before marriage, before children, before life taught us that happiness was temporary and pain was permanent. Sarah walked into the living room. She was carrying a leather briefcase and a cardboard box of files. Her hair was shorter than I remembered, streaked with gray. Her face was thinner, sharper. Her eyes were the same, intelligent, kind, fierce. She looked at me. She looked at Lily. She looked at me again. Her eyes filled with tears. Nora. Sarah. She set down her briefcase and her box. She walked to the couch. She sat down next to me. She put her arms around me. The hug lasted a long time. Longer than I expected. Longer than I thought I could handle. She held me while I sat there, frozen, unable to move, unable to speak, unable to feel. She held me while I stared at the wall. She held me while my mother stood in the doorway, watching, crying. She held me until my arms finally unlocked and I wrapped them around her and started to cry. Not the quiet tears of someone who is trying to hide. The loud, ugly tears of someone who has been holding everything in for too long. The kind of tears that hurt. The kind of tears that leave you exhausted and empty and raw. Sarah didn't say anything. She didn't tell me it would be okay. She didn't offer empty platitudes. She didn't say everything happens for a reason, or you're better off without him, or time heals all wounds. She just held me while I fell apart. When I finally pulled away, her eyes were wet. Her cheeks were wet. Her sweater was wet from my tears. I'm sorry, I said. Don't apologize. You have nothing to apologize for. You drove all the way out here. You left work. You. Stop. You're my oldest friend. Your family. I'm not going to let you go through this alone. I'm not going to let him do this to you, without a fight. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just let me help. Sarah sat down at the kitchen table. She opened her briefcase. She pulled out a stack of papers. Forms. Legal documents. Things I didn't understand. Things I didn't want to understand. My mother made coffee. She set a cup in front of Sarah. She set a cup in front of me. I didn't drink it. I just watched the steam rise and disappear. I need to ask you some questions, Sarah said. They're going to be hard. Some of them are going to be invasive. Some of them are going to make you angry. Some of them are going to make you sad. But I need you to answer them honestly. I need to know everything. The good, the bad, the ugly. Okay. When did Mark leave? This morning.
5:30 a.m.
He woke up and told me he wanted a divorce. He was standing in the doorway of the nursery. I was holding Lily. She was crying. He just said it, like he was ordering takeout. Like it was nothing. He just said it.
No conversation?
No warning? No, we need to talk? He said he couldn't do it anymore. He said he hadn't been happy for a long time. He said he met someone. And then he left. He packed a bag. He walked out. He didn't look back. Was there any warning? Any signs? Any indication that something was wrong? I don't know. Maybe. He's been distant for months. He's been working late. He's been going on business trips. But I thought it was the baby. I thought he was just tired. I thought he was adjusting to fatherhood. I thought it was temporary. Did he ever mention this woman? Nicole?
No.
I had no idea she existed until today. I met her once. At the Christmas party. She seemed nice. She seemed normal. She brought cookies. She brought cookies? She brought cookies. Peppermint bark. Homemade. She handed me a plate and smiled and said she was so happy for us. She asked about the baby. She said I looked radiant. And all the while, she was sleeping with my husband. Sarah wrote something on a notepad. Her handwriting was small and neat. Her pen moved quickly, efficiently, like a doctor writing a prescription. Do you have joint bank accounts?
Yes.
One checking, one savings, a few credit cards. Do you know the balances? Not really. Mark handled the finances. He said he was better at it. He said I was too emotional about money. He said I spent too much on groceries, on clothes, on things we didn't need.
So I let him handle it.
I trusted him. Did you ever suspect anything? Any missing money? Any unusual expenses? Any charges you didn't recognize?
No.
He paid the bills. He balanced the checkbook. He did the taxes. I never looked. I never thought to look. Sarah wrote something else. She tapped her pen against the notepad. She looked up at me. I'm going to need you to start looking. I'm going to need you to get statements, receipts, anything you can find. Bank statements, credit card statements, anything from the last year. If he was hiding money for the affair, we need to know. If he was spending money on her, we need to know. He wouldn't do that. Men do a lot of things you wouldn't think they'd do. Men lie. Men cheat. Men steal. Men hide. And then they leave. At 4 p.m., my phone buzzed. The sound was sharp, jarring, out of place in the quiet of my mother's living room. I looked at the screen. Mark's name appeared. A text. Can I come get some more of my things? I'll wait until you're not there. I just need clothes. I'll be quick. I don't want to see you. I don't want to fight. I just want my stuff. I stared at the message. My hands were shaking. Lily was in my arms, nursing, her eyes closed, her tiny fingers curled around my thumb. She was oblivious. She was peaceful. She was the only good thing left in my life. What does he want? My mother asked. Clothes. He wants to come get clothes. He says he'll wait until I'm not there. Tell him no. Mom. Tell him no. He can buy new clothes. He can wear Nicole's clothes. He can go naked for all I care. He doesn't get to come back here. He doesn't get to walk through that door. He doesn't get to see this house, this room, this couch, this table, ever again. I typed back. No. I'll pack your things and leave them on the porch. You can pick them up later. Don't come inside. Don't try to see me. Don't try to see Lily. His response came immediately. You're being unreasonable. I'm just trying to get my things. I'm not trying to start anything. I didn't answer. Another text. I'm trying to be civil. I'm trying to make this easy for everyone. Don't make this harder than it has to be. You're not the only one who's hurting. I still didn't answer. Another text. Fine. I'll come tomorrow. I'll bring a police escort if I have to. I have rights. This is still my house. You can't keep me out. I handed the phone to Sarah. Can he do that? I asked. Can he call the police? Can he force his way into the house?
No.
The house is marital property. He has just as much right to be there as you do. The police won't help him break in. They won't help him start a fight. But they also won't stop him from entering his own home. So, what do? You change the locks. You stay somewhere else. You let him have the house for now. You focus on Lily. You focus on yourself. You let me handle the legal stuff. I don't want him in my house. It's not your house. It's both of your houses. Until the divorce is final, until the assets are divided, it belongs to both of you. You can't keep him out. But you don't have to be there when he's there. I don't want him near my things. Then pack your things. Move them here. Move them to storage. Move them anywhere he can't get to them. I looked around my mother's living room. The sagging couch. The outdated television. The stacks of newspapers and magazines. The dust on the shelves. There's no room here, I said. Then we'll make room. At 6 p.m., I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer. My first instinct was to let it go to voicemail, to screen it, to hide from the world. But something made me swipe the screen and press the phone to my ear. Curiosity.
Fear.
Desperation. I don't know. Hello. Hi, is this Nora? The voice was female.
Young. Familiar.
I had heard it before. At the Christmas party. In my own living room. Over plates of cookies and cups of eggnog. Who is this? This is Nicole. Marks. I'm Marks. I know who you are.
Oh, okay, good.
I'm sorry to call you. I know this is weird. I know this is awkward. I wanted to apologize. You wanted to apologize? For my part in this. For the affair. For what I did. I didn't mean for it to happen. It just happened. It started as friendship. It started as just talking. And then one thing led to another and I couldn't stop and he couldn't stop and it just happened? You slept with my husband for 8 months. Through my pregnancy. Through the birth of my daughter. Through sleepless nights and doctor's appointments and Lamaze classes. It didn't just happen. You made choices. Both of you made choices. I know. I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud of myself. I'm not proud of any of it. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry. Where is Mark? He's here. He's in the shower. He doesn't know I'm calling. He'd be furious if he knew. You're calling me from your shower? From the shower you share with my husband? Silence. I'm not going to apologize for being angry, I said. I'm not going to apologize for being hurt. I'm not going to pretend that this is okay. You slept with my husband. You destroyed my family. You broke my heart. You don't get to call me and say you're sorry and expect me to forgive you. I'm not asking for forgiveness. Then why are you calling? Because I wanted you to hear it from me. Not from him. Not from anyone else. I wanted you to know that I'm sorry. I wanted you to know that I know I was wrong. I wanted you to know that I'm not a monster. I'm just a person who made a terrible mistake. Goodbye, Nicole. I hung up. I handed the phone to my mother. My hands were shaking. My voice was shaking. My whole body was shaking. That was her, my mother said. That was her. What did she want? She wanted to apologize. She wanted to apologize? After 8 months? After destroying your marriage? After breaking your heart? She wants to apologize. She said she wasn't asking for forgiveness. She just wanted me to know she was sorry. People like that don't get to apologize. People like that don't get to feel better about themselves. They get to live with what they did. They get to live with the guilt. They get to live with the consequences. She said Mark was in the shower. She called me from the shower. From their shower. My mother stood up. I'm going to kill him, Mom. I'm serious. I'm going to find him, and I'm going to kill him. And then I'm going to find her, and I'm going to kill her too. I'm going to make sure they never hurt anyone again. Sit down.
Please.
I need you here. Not in jail. Mediation was scheduled for a Monday in March. 6 weeks after Mark left. 6 weeks of sleepless nights and endless tears and the slow, painful process of learning to exist without him. 6 weeks of my mother's cooking and Sarah's legal advice and Lily's tiny smiles that made everything almost bearable. 6 weeks of waiting for this day. The family court building was downtown, a gray stone monolith with pillars and flags and metal detectors at every entrance. The hallways smelled like old wood and floor wax and the particular mustiness of buildings that have witnessed too much human misery. I arrived at 8 a.m., an hour early. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sit still. So I came early, sat in the empty hallway, and waited. My mother was with me. She was holding Lily, who was asleep in her car seat, oblivious to the weight of the day. My mother had insisted on coming. You're not doing this alone, she said. I'll be in the waiting room. I'll have Lily. You focus on the mediation. You focus on yourself. You focus on the future. Sarah was there too. She was wearing a gray suit and carrying a briefcase. Her hair was pulled back. Her face was calm. She looked like a lawyer. She looked like a warrior. You ready? She asked.
No.
That's fine. Ready is overrated. I just need you to tell the truth. What if he lies?
He will.
Let him. The mediator will see. The truth has a way of coming out. The mediation room was small and windowless, with gray walls and a long table and uncomfortable chairs. The mediator was a woman in her 50s named Dr. Patricia Holmes. She had gray hair and wire-rimmed glasses and a voice that was calm and steady and utterly without judgment. She explained the process. No judge.
No jury.
Just the four of us, me, Mark, Sarah, and Mark's lawyer, trying to reach an agreement. Custody, child support, division of assets,
Division of debts.
everything. If we can't agree, she said, the case will go to trial. That will take months, maybe longer. It will be expensive. It will be stressful. It will be painful for everyone, especially the child.
I understand, I said.
Mark didn't say anything. He was sitting across the table from me, his hands folded in front of him, his eyes fixed on the table. He looked thinner than I remembered. His hair was grayer. His face was lined. He looked like a stranger. I hadn't seen him in 6 weeks. Not since he stood on the porch, begging me to open the door. I had avoided him. I had changed my phone number. I had moved out of our house and into my mother's. I had done everything I could to erase him from my life. But here he was. Here we were. And there was no avoiding him now. Mark's lawyer spoke first. His name was Leonard Crane. He was in his 60s, with gray hair and an expensive suit and the kind of face that had been in courtrooms for decades. He spoke in a low, measured voice, the voice of a man who had learned that shouting never won cases. My client is seeking joint legal and physical custody of the child, Lily. He is willing to pay child support based on the standard guidelines. He is also seeking an equitable division of the marital assets, including the house, which he is willing to sell and split the proceeds. Sarah stood up. My client is seeking sole legal and physical custody of the child. She is willing to negotiate visitation, but she believes that joint custody is not in the child's best interest given the circumstances of the separation. What circumstances?
Crane asked.
The circumstances of my client's husband leaving her for another woman while she was recovering from childbirth. The circumstances of my client's husband abandoning his family at 5:30 in the morning while his wife was holding their newborn daughter. Mark's face flushed. That's not. You'll have your turn, Dr. Holmes said. Sarah continued. We argued about everything.
The car.
The furniture.
The debt.
The savings. The retirement accounts. Every dollar, every object, every memory reduced to numbers on a page. By the end, I was exhausted.
My eyes were dry.
My head was pounding. My hands were shaking. Mark signed the papers. I signed the papers. Dr. Holmes initialed each page. Congratulations, she said. You've reached an agreement. The judge will review it and, barring any issues, it will become final in 30 days. Thank you, I said. Mark didn't say anything. I walked out of the mediation room. My mother was waiting in the hallway, holding Lily, her face anxious. How did it go? She asked. We reached an agreement. Are you okay?
No. I'm sorry.
Don't be. It's not your fault. I took Lily from her arms. I held her against my chest. I felt her heartbeat, fast and steady, drumming against my own. It's over, I whispered. It's finally over. The divorce was finalized 30 days later. I didn't go to the hearing. I didn't need to. Sarah handled it. She called me afterward with the news. It's done, she said. You're divorced. The judge signed the order. How do you feel? I don't know. Relieved?
Sad?
Empty? All of it. All of it is allowed. I just want to move on. I just want to forget. I just want to be happy. You will be. It takes time. How much time? I don't know. However long it takes. Here's what I learned. You can't change people who don't want to change. You can't save people who don't want to be saved. You can't love people who don't know how to love. Mark didn't love me. Maybe he never did. Maybe he loved the idea of me, the idea of a wife, the idea of a family. But when it got hard, when the baby came, when the sleepless nights began, he ran. He ran to someone easier. Someone who didn't need him. Someone who didn't have stretch marks or baby weight or bags under her eyes. I don't hate him. I don't love him either. I just feel nothing. He's a stranger. He's a stranger who used to live in my house, who used to sleep in my bed, who used to be the father of my child. But he's not my family anymore. He's not my husband anymore. He's not my anything. He's Lily's father. That's all. And that's enough. Last week, Lily laughed for the first time. She was lying on the floor, kicking her legs, staring at the mobile above her crib. The mobile had little elephants that spun in circles. She watched them spin. She grabbed her feet. She gurgled. She laughed. A real laugh. The kind that comes from somewhere deep, somewhere joyful, somewhere untouched by pain. I laughed too. I cried too. I felt the weight of the past few months lift, just a little, just enough to breathe. We're going to be okay. Lily and me, we're going to be okay. Subscribe for more stories about family, betrayal, and the courage to build something new. Thank you for listening.